So as we are now in the month of December, that can only mean one thing. The January transfer window is just 1 month away, and already we've got some transfer rumours which are flying about the Championship, which we will be discussing in today's video. So if you are happy to see the return of the Championship transfer rumour roundup, make sure you leave a like on this video, it's always massively appreciated. And in today's video we've got some very interesting rumours which have been going around the Championship lately. What I'd be interested to know from you guys is what positions do you think your club needs to look into strengthening in the January transfer window? For a club like Preston, the January transfer window cannot come soon enough, really. With the amount of injuries that we currently got with our current squad, we're going to have a pretty big window, in my opinion, if we are going to push up the Championship in the second half of this season. Also, let me know down below if you are worried about losing any of your players in the transfer window as well. We've got a couple of players in here who are currently being linked to Premier League clubs, so we could be seeing quite a bit of movement in this window. And also, let me know down below if you are a West Brom or Brentford fan, what you made of the game on Monday night. It was a really hectic game in the Championship. In the first half of this one, we saw West Brom have 16 shots, but nothing was going in for them. Eventually, they did manage to take the lead through Harvey Barnes, but Brentford managed to get into it late on in the 91st minute, levelling things up and ending as a 1-1 draw. This result does take West Brom up to 3rd in the Championship, takes Brentford up to 18th, which isn't ideal for them, but considering how many chances that West Brom had in this game, I think that Brentford will take the point for sure. But we will now move on into talking about some transfer rumours currently going around the Championship. The first one is Ashley Cole currently being linked with the move to both Derby County and Aston Villa. Obviously, the reason for these links are quite obvious, really, with Ashley Cole previously playing with Frank Lampard and John Terry. John Terry, of course, being the number 2 at Aston Villa at this point in time. And as he has just been released by LA Galaxy, a move to the Championship and back to England could be on the cards for Ashley Cole. Now, when I saw this rumour come up, I'm not really sure what to make of it. He is 37 years old, and you've got to question the fact, you know, he has been released by LA Galaxy in the MLS. Would he still be able to cut it at a level like the Championship? I'm not so sure. I'm not an avid watcher of the MLS, but some of the things I've heard about him in recent years, I think, you know, he has been having quite a bit of a decline lately. So, the question I asked to Derby and Aston Villa fans is, do you think Ashley Cole will still be able to cut it in the Championship? And would you like to see him come in, you know? I think there's quite a lot of pros and cons with this deal if it was to come off as unlikely as it probably is. Obviously, he'd bring a great deal of experience and composure to any backline in the Championship, but being 37 years old, you question whether he's still got the physical attributes to go ahead and play that role, and it's an interesting one for sure. I'm interested to get your guys' opinion on this one. And another player being linked around the Championship is Tom Heaton, the Burnley goalkeeper. Obviously, with him recently falling down the pecking order, with Joe Hart coming in at Burnley and them having Nick Pope now as well, Tom Heaton's not really got a place there. I think he would be a very capable keeper in the Championship, though. Currently, the clubs being talked about as being linked to Tom Heaton are Derby County, Aston Villa, and Leeds United. I'd love to see Michael Preston go in for him, but I don't think that's really going to happen. In 77 appearances in the Premier League, he's been able to keep 20 clean sheets, and it is looking likely that he will be made available on a loan deal in the January transfer window. So I do see this one being quite likely, really. Where he'll end up, though, who knows? And another goalkeeper Leeds are currently being linked to is Wes Foderingham of Rangers. He's currently their number 2 after Steven Gerrard has come in, not had much game time so far this season. He's mostly just appeared in cup matches for Rangers so far, but an interesting transfer rumour nevertheless. I can see this having something in it, really, with him being quite good with the ball at his feet. He would fit in to a Bielsa system. I must admit that myself, I've never really been the biggest fan of Wes Foderingham. I watched him quite a bit while he was at Swindon Town before he moved to Rangers, and I know that he will have developed as a player since then, but even so, he never really filled me with much confidence. He's not necessarily sort of a towering goalkeeper. He's quite small in stature, really, but he's good with the ball at his feet, so I can see the reason Leeds have been linked to him at the moment. And it is looking like Andy King will be made available on loan by Leicester in the January transfer window, with Derby County said to be one of the Championship clubs who are currently interested in him. I think he'd be a pretty good option in the Championship, really. Whether Derby do need another player in this position, I'm not so sure, but even so, his best season in the Championship came back in 2010/11, where he was able to score 15 goals from midfield. I think he would add maybe something to that Derby midfield looking to go forward. And a very interesting transfer rumour which I saw going around a couple of weeks ago was Che Adams of Birmingham being linked with a move to Stoke City. Gary Rowett looking to go back to Birmingham for a couple of their talents for this one, and the fee being talked about was only £5 million, which did really surprise me. A player who's already scored 9 goals so far this season, picked up 3 assists as well. I think the asking price will be a lot more than that. The only thing that, you know, tempts me to think this could happen is the whole situation with Birmingham going on with their finances and everything like that. The current state of the club off the pitch at the moment isn't brilliant. Obviously, we had all the drama going on in the summer transfer window with Birmingham as well, and we could see some of that maybe resurfacing in the January transfer window. For this one, though, it's an interesting move. I think that Che Adams has played his best football so far this season at Birmingham, probably because of them playing that 2-striker formation. He's been really good with linking up with Djukovic so far. Would he set up as well in a Gary Rowett system, you know, looking to play as a lone striker? I'm not so sure. But this is definitely an area which Stoke are looking into improving. You know, we've seen a couple of their strikers so far this season go on a couple of goal droughts. You know, before the weekend, Benik Afobe wasn't in brilliant form for them. I think adding a player like Che Che Adams with a bit more pace going forward would be a sensible option for Stoke. But can I see this one happening? I don't think Birmingham are going to be likely to sell. And the transfer rumour going around, which I'm sure Nottingham Forest fans won't be too happy about, but that is that Joe Lolly is currently being linked with a couple of Premier League clubs actually. Obviously he's been in some fantastic form so far this season, already scoring 6 goals and picking up 6 assists. When Forest actually signed him last January, possibly was one of the best bargains we've seen in recent times in the Championship. With the phenomenal player that Joe Lolly has been showing he is in the Championship this season, what a bargain buy he was from Huddersfield last January. In the past we have seen Nottingham Forest selling a lot of their prize assets going forward, you know, thinking back to the likes of a Sombalonga and Ollie Burke as well. But now I do think there is a different mentality around Nottingham Forest, and for that reason I can't see them being very likely to sell at all. Another rumour going around at the moment which I'm not too happy about is Callum Robinson being linked with the move away from Preston North End. He's currently out injured for 3 months, but so far this season Callum Robinson has been absolutely superb for Preston North End. The club being interested is Bournemouth. They're actually said to be very interested in the player, but the fee being talked about is only £7 million at this point in time. I think that is way under his evaluation considering how good he has been in the Championship for Preston so far this season. He's only 23 years old, and so far this season we've already seen him score 9 goals and picking up 2 assists in a pretty shambolic Preston North End team, and so it's no surprise to see a club like Bournemouth being interested in Robinson. I actually think that for his career progression, going to a club like Bournemouth probably would be a good thing for him. You know, they're a club that brings through young players. However, if he is to go, it's going to have to be for an absolutely huge fee in my opinion. You know, he really has been our talisman going forward so far this season, and considering some of the fees that we've seen other players from the Championship go to the Premier League for, you know, we've seen the Murphy twins go for quite a lot of money. David Brooks went to Bournemouth for quite a bit of money from Sheffield United as well. We also saw, I mean, Preston sold Jordan Hugill for about £10 million, so the asking price for Callum Robinson in my opinion has to be at least 15 million if we are realistically going to be selling him in January, but we'll wait to see what happens with that one. And speaking of Preston North End, we're currently being linked with a move for Connor Ripley of Middlesbrough. He's currently out on loan at Accrington Stanley, but after the absolute disaster that Declan Rudd had at the weekend, it's no surprise to see Alex Neil targeting a goalkeeper in the January transfer window. So far this season, neither Chris Maxwell or Declan Rudd have really covered themselves in any sort of glory really, and I actually think that the goalkeeper issues with Preston sort of started to go downhill ever since Alan Kelly, our goalkeeper coach, has left the club. Since then, I don't think either of them have been particularly good, but even so, bringing in a goalkeeper like Connor Ripley, only 25 years old, I think would be a good move going forward for Preston in the future. And it couldn't be a transfer video without discussing the latest on Bradley Dack. Already this season scoring 9 goals and picking up 3 assists as well, he has been gathering some Premier League interest. Both West Ham and Crystal Palace are said to be interested in the Blackburn Rovers playmaker, and what I'd be interested to know from you guys, I'll leave a poll for you guys to vote on this one. Will Bradley Dack still be a Blackburn player come the end of the January transfer window? It's been quite a big discussion rumbling on in the Championship. I know that all the Blackburn fans will be hoping that Bradley Dack does go ahead and stay because, you know, maybe they do have an outside chance of the playoffs. That's only going to be the case if Bradley Dack does stay there. He's been an absolute central hub to their goal scoring and creativity so far this season, and I think they'll want to keep him for the rest of this season for sure. And a very interesting transfer rumour at the moment is Jermaine Defoe being linked with the move to Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United currently a side who are sat in the top 6. However, as of late, you know, they have had a couple of goal scoring issues with their strikers not really being that clinical. I do think that they've got some good options going forward. Billy Sharp, David McGoldrick. I think they're good players, but they can be a little bit inconsistent sometimes. Another goal scorer in the January transfer window really could propel this Sheffield United side onto that next level, and bringing in a player of Jermaine Defoe's quality could be an absolute brilliant signing for them. He could be made available on loan in the January transfer window after he hasn't really had much game time at Bournemouth so far this season. He is 36 years old, but I do think that he is exactly the sort of player that Sheffield United are lacking at this point in time. They create a lot of chances per game, it's just they can be quite wasteful sometimes, and someone like a clinical finisher like Jermaine Defoe, what a signing that could be. And there has also been some talk about Sheffield United also being interested in a move for Shane Long in the transfer window as well. He's not really been involved with Southampton so far this season. Most of his appearances have come from the bench and he's yet to score for them. If he was to make that step back down to the Championship though, I think he could be an absolutely prolific striker. The last time we saw him in the Championship, back in 2011, we saw him bagging in 21 goals for Reading that year. And once again will be a player who fits this Chris Wilder system to a T, and like I said, he's that clinical finisher that they're in need of at the moment. In the summer transfer window, we've seen Jack Butland being linked with a move away from Stoke City, possibly back up to the Premier League. But reports have recently come out about Jack Butland saying that Stoke won't consider any bids that are less than £50 million for the England goalkeeper in the January transfer window, which does seem a little bit crazy. He's still only 25 years old, which did surprise me a little bit. It does seem like Jack Butland's been around for ages, but with that price tag, I can't see him going anywhere in January. Tom Flanagan has been linked with the move to Swansea City in the January transfer window. This rumour does make sense to me, in my opinion. I don't think that Swansea have that much depth defensively, and bringing in another options, a versatile player like Flanagan, I think would be a good option going forward for them. He's only 27 years old and has been a very solid player for Sunderland in League One so far this season. And we're also seeing Swansea City being linked with the move for Lawrence Shankland of Ayr United. So far this season, we've already seen the striker scoring 16 goals in the Scottish Championship, and his record for Ayr United is absolutely phenomenal. I must say that in 45 appearances for them, he's been able to score 42 goals, which is absolutely fantastic. That's almost a goal to game ratio. Obviously, the standard of football isn't the best in the Scottish lower divisions, but even so, maybe worth a gamble for Swansea in the transfer window. Only 23 years old, it would be at a fairly low price as well, so not much can go wrong with that in my opinion. Bristol City are being linked with the move for Josh Maja of Sunderland. In League One so far this season, we've already seen the 19-year-old striker score 11 goals in 16 appearances for the Black Cats, and so this move would actually make sense. It would probably be at quite a high price, as he is very highly rated by Sunderland fans, I know that for a fact, and it's no real surprise to see quite a few Championship clubs lining up for Josh Maja's services. And to wrap up the video, once again we're seeing Jacob Butterfield being linked with the move to Hull City. I think they were heavily linked with the move for him in the summer transfer window. Lately, Jacob Butterfield's career has sort of gone off the rails a little bit really. Derby fans don't really seem to rate him, neither did Sheffield Wednesday fans when he was on loan there last season. Back in the day, you know, when he was at Huddersfield, I thought he was a very effective player in the Championship. However, since making his move to Derby County, I don't think he's been brilliant over the past few years. Maybe a loan move to a club like Hull would be able to revitalise his career. Maybe he'd be able to add something into that midfield of theirs, because I don't really see a future for him at Derby. But guys, there you have it. There are some of the transfer rumours which are currently flying around the Championship. So have you guys seen any other rumours that we didn't mention in today's video? Let me know about them in the comments down below. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. Leave a comment in the comments down below as to who would you like to see your club signing in the January transfer window. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.